Hello everybody. Today's video is about labels and loaded language. Labels and loaded language. Labels will limit you, loaded language will disable you. And it's something that people use whenever they want to control people, and whether you know it or not, unless you've worked hard to eliminate labels and loaded language from your life and your vocabulary, it still will control you to an extent. And it's subconscious, so you don't even know what's happening. You know, this has been happening since the beginning of time. It doesn't only have to do with religion or our past. It's always used. If you go back to the time when the Europeans first came to America and they discovered America, all right? That's a term that is used for a reason. Discovered America. You can't discover something when people are already here. But when you use the word discover, what does that do? It gives you eminent domain. It gives you rights to what you've found, correct? So immediately puts you in charge. Hence they use the word discover, because it doesn't even take into account the Native Americans that were here. So when the Native Americans were trying to protect their land, to protect their communities, it was never portrayed that way. It was portrayed the opposite way around. And if the Native Americans won a battle, it was called a massacre. If the Europeans won a battle, it was called a victory. You see, this is to play on words to give you a certain perspective of what's going on, right? So words can be very, very powerful in how you use them and how they play out in your mind. Now let's think of some loaded words that, a loaded language that the witnesses use. Use the word kingdom, kingdom interest, the flock, theocratic. I could go on and on. There are words that if you were to actually type them, if you're typing in your computer, the spell correct will try to correct the word. It doesn't recognize the word because it's not a real word. You ever notice if you're sitting next to a witness in an airplane or in a restaurant, within 5 minutes you know they're witnesses because they use certain words and they catch your ear and you go, those are witnesses. Happens all the time. Okay, because these are words that are part of a loaded language. So let's think about some words that you need to eliminate from your vocabulary if you really want to empower yourself, if you really want to stop that subconscious wiring that gets triggered when you hear it. Number one, how about the word brother and sister? You see, when you still use the word brother and sister and you've left the organization, what does that make your mind do? You call them brother or sister because you have something in common with them, correct? They're not your fleshly brother or sister, but you say, I saw brother so-and-so, I saw sister so-and-so, even though you've left the organization. By you calling them brother or sister, that is implying that you have something in common, a brother or a sisterhood in common with that person. So your mind immediately wants to identify with that person, and in that identification, who's wrong in that? What is the common thought? The common thought is the belief that you both used to carry together. So when you use the word brother or sister, immediately you condemn yourself. You're the one to be looked down on in that scenario. So personally, I call no one brother or sister. No one, because you're not my brother and we don't believe the same things. You are just whatever your name is. Okay, I made a video about this earlier in these videos, but I want to really focus on labels and tools of mind control. So you've got to stop saying brother or sister, because they're not your fleshly brother. They're not your brother in belief, right? That's a loaded word. Something like Kingdom Hall. What is a Kingdom Hall? Only Jehovah's Witnesses normally call it a Kingdom Hall, right? It's a church. So I don't even use that word. It's the Jehovah's Witnesses church to me, right? I purposely go out of my way to not use their words. You know, that's not such a harmful one, but I go out of my way to say that anyway in my own head. It's a church. right? If you go someplace for a religious belief, it's a church. I don't use it anymore. Now, one that people tend to use long after they've left is the word the truth. And this is one of the most dangerous words that you can use, because your mind doesn't miss words. Your subconscious mind doesn't miss words. Words trigger things in you. So when you say the truth, then what do you have? I left the truth once I didn't believe it. Think about that. That's an oxymoron. That makes no sense. You've got to stop saying the truth, because that's triggering something in your subconscious mind. I never say the truth, and even when I'm around family who are still witnesses, I correct them when they say the truth, because I mention to them, or I always point out that I don't say whatever I believe is the truth. So I appreciate it that when I'm here, a boundary of mine is you don't use that phrase. And I know it's hard for them because they don't even think about it. But never say the truth. I left the truth, because in your mind you will self-judge again, because if you're not in the truth, then you are in the wrong. You're saying, I left the truth. What did you leave to? You left to what's wrong. Somehow you're going to self-judge yourself because of all that wiring that's been there for decades. This is a big one. Do not say the truth. And another big one is the word worldly. Okay? Type that in your computer and see if the computer even recognizes that. It's a made-up term. Worldly. Now, when you use the word worldly, what are you? From the world you came from, you are worldly. Was there always judgment on worldly people? Yes, there was. So how do you not judge yourself and look down on yourself when you are still using that word? Well, I got some new worldly friends. Okay, I don't have witness friends, I got worldly friends. The fact of the matter is that word is ridiculous, because a pastor and a prostitute is in the same bucket, right? They're both worldly, and they got nothing to do with each other. One person lives an upright life and somebody else does not at all, yet you put them in the same bucket as worldly. And all these things are labels. When you say the word worldly, you're labeling other people and you're labeling yourself. Labels are very powerful, because labels are boxes that have ceilings on it. You're in a box as long as you use a label. You've got to be very, very careful not to buy into labels. The witnesses are very good at labeling people. You're a pioneer, you're a ministerial servant, you're a publisher. These are all labels that give you a box that you fit in. And if you want to really reach your full potential in life, and that's the purpose of these videos, is not to bash, but to move you forward. If you really want to live up to your full potential, you cannot live within labels. Even the label apostate. And a lot of people, in wanting to feel some power and control over that word, might get proud of it, using that word as a positive. I'm a proud apostate. Well, it's kind of like black people thinking that the N-word empowers them. It does not. In your subconscious mind, deep within you, that's a negative word. I never say the N-word. Why? Because there's no getting around its negative history. Words carry vibration. Words carry power. So I never say that word. There's no taking ownership of that word in my view. So even the word apostate, it's such a negative word, right? And all it really means is someone who's abandoned their former religion or political affiliation. They've taken that word and they've really made it to be something worse than what it is. But still, you've got to consider how your mind was wired to take that word all these years, right? Now, words have power, and it's a label. I don't want a label. You can go as far as to dismiss the word even disfellowship. If you've truly separated yourself from an organization, all you are is someone who doesn't believe anymore. You let them keep their labels. If somebody asks you if you're disfellowship, say, you know what, I'm no longer a witness. Or, you know, I believe something. Whatever you want to say, you don't have to use their words. You don't have to use their labels, because they box you and they limit you. Labels limit what you can ever do. And some people, when they leave one label, they latch onto another label, and you're never going to live to your full potential if you are living within labels. You've got to live a label-free life, right? And this goes outside of even the witness stuff. People embrace labels, and people stop thinking. Whenever you embrace a label, you stop thinking. If someone says, I'm a staunch Republican, then whatever the Republican Party says, they agree with. They're not thinking. They could switch absolutely to the thought process of the other side and you go along with that. I'm a staunch Democrat. You're not thinking. Fact of the matter is you're going to believe some of this and some of that because you're a unique individual. But labels make you all think the same, and that's what the witnesses use, and that's why they all think the same. And you can ask 10 witnesses a question and get 10 identical answers because they're not thinking. They're living within that label. So think about the labels that you use. Stop using the words of the truth. Stop using the words worldly, elder, brother, sister, whatever. Just lose regard for all of their words. Let them have them. Get on with your life and don't live within boxes. So I want to encourage all of you who come on and watch these videos to join our Facebook page. It's a group of people. It's new. We get together, we share positive messages. We try not to just live in resentment and anger and living a life poking holes in the organization just because. No, we want to go forward in life because all of you have great potential in you. As soon as you remove the bounds and the mind control from the organization, you'll find that there is just a beautiful life for every single one of us to enjoy. So hit the hit the link that is in the text of this video, right down there. Hit that link, join the group, and let's all share positive things. If you come on the page, introduce yourself, let us know who you are, and let us embrace you. Let's do something positive because we're not here to just survive, we're here to thrive. Take care, and I'll see you in the next video.